Welcome to Nightmare Hex. Tonight's story isn't fiction, or at least it wasn't supposed to be. This is the beginning of something much darker than a ghost story or haunted house. This is about a building that remembers, a floor that should not exist, and the people who thought they could expose it. What happened to 22-year-old Devin Hale is still under investigation, though no authorities have officially confirmed what we're about to tell you. But if you keep listening, you'll understand why Hollowpath Heights isn't just another forgotten structure on the edge of Boston. It's a place where the walls breathe, the ceilings whisper, and one entire floor was sealed off because it wasn't supposed to be there in the first place. Devin moved into Unit 1203 in April. The building had a morbid reputation, but cheap rent, a corner unit, and no upstairs neighbors made it perfect for an independent documentary project. He titled the series Under the Forbidden Floor, and by week 1, his content was already gaining traction. At first, it was harmless. Devin filmed walkthroughs, mocked local urban legends, and even read fan theories from Reddit. But something changed on night 5. He posted a video titled Footsteps from the Void. In it, you can clearly hear boots pacing directly above his ceiling, slow, heavy steps, and yet no one lives on the floor above. No access, no lights, not even ventilation. That floor, labeled 13 in the building's original blueprints, was officially sealed in 1994 after what was described as a mechanical collapse. But residents have always whispered a different version. That something was found up there. Something that couldn't leave. Devin started live streaming his nights. In one now deleted clip, he sits awake at 2:12 a.m., staring at the ceiling. The footsteps returned. This time they stopped right above his head and stayed. For over 3 minutes, not a single movement, just the sense of pressure, like something massive was squatting over the entire apartment. Then came the scratching. It wasn't animal. It was rhythmic, deliberate, as if fingernails were being dragged in parallel lines across metal. Devin whispers into the camera, "It's not a person. It's like the building is communicating." Comments poured in. Some viewers said they heard a low whisper embedded in the audio, a voice repeating, "You see us now." That clip disappeared from YouTube within 24 hours. When re-uploaded to another horror archive, viewers claimed the audio now contained a second voice, speaking in reverse. When reversed, it said, "Don't look up." Devin became obsessed. He stopped going outside, ordered food through delivery lockers, boarded up his windows. His final full-length vlog was titled, "The Ceiling Opened." In the video, he shows viewers a crawlspace he never noticed before. A bolted square panel above his closet. When he unlatched it, the footage cuts to black. When it resumes, the camera is pointed upward, showing a dark, dusty shaft. There's nothing visible. Until a shape moves. Not a full figure, just a hint of motion, like skin brushing against insulation. Then, a single chain descends. At the end of it, a bell. Small, rusted, and swinging on its own. Devin lowers the camera and says, "If it rings 3 times, I have to go." That's what the old forum said. 3 rings, and it's your turn. The bell rings once, then twice. Then, before the third, he slams the panel shut. That night, neighbors report hearing something metal scraping the inside of the walls between 12 and 13. The next day, Devin's channel stopped posting. Concerned viewers reached out. A friend drove to check on him, but the door to Unit 1203 was sealed. No one answered. Security footage later, recovered by Redditors, shows Devin leaving the building around 3:30 a.m. but not through the front door. He came down from the fire escape barefoot, wearing clothes covered in gray dust. In the footage, He stops at the edge of the camera's view and looks directly into it. His mouth is moving, but there's no audio. One viewer claimed to lip read the words, "It's not upstairs. It's inside now." Police performed a wellness check the next day. The apartment was empty. Devon's wallet, phone, and hard drives were still there. But all his footage from the last 3 nights had been deleted. The only file left was an untitled video 6 seconds long. It's just the sound of slow breathing. And something very faint. A child's voice whispering, "Listen. You're next." So what is floor 13? Old residents claim it wasn't always sealed. Back in the 1980s, there were units, families, tenants who paid rent, complained about the elevators, lived their lives. But in 1987, 6 people vanished in the same week. No signs of break-ins. No blood. Just a wet smell left behind, and closets lined with strange, carved markings. One surviving tenant, an elderly woman named Grace Hannity, was quoted in a 1990s interview as saying, "We didn't build that floor. It grew between the others. We thought we lived on 12. Then one night, we all woke up on 13. She was institutionalized shortly after." Want proof? A Blueprints leak posted anonymously in a now-banned subreddit shows something strange. Floor 13 has a different layout than every other level. Twisting hallways. Rooms that connect to no other plumbing. A stairwell that doesn't appear anywhere else in the building. The architect, a man named Elias Corvin, who disappeared a week after Holopath opened in 1979. The last thing he reportedly said was, "It's not a building. It's a mouth." Still think this is just urban legend? In July, 2 urban explorers broke into Holopath and uploaded a live walkthrough. They reached floor 12, filmed the sealed stairwell, but then they found a second door, hidden behind a fake electrical panel. It led upward. The footage shows the door opening slowly, revealing a hallway that shouldn't exist, low ceilings, flickering bulbs, black mold pulsing on the walls. At the end of the hall, something moves. Not fast, not aggressive, just a figure, twitching, walking backwards on all fours. Then the feed cut. Their channel was taken down an hour later. Both explorers never heard from again. So here's the part no one wants to talk about. The tapping. People who've watched Devon's last videos claim they now hear it at home. Always around 3:17 a.m. A soft tapping from the ceiling. Then, after a few nights, a second sound joins. The sound of chains, gently swaying. If you hear 3 rings, you've been chosen. Don't open your closet. Don't look up. Most importantly, don't acknowledge it. Because the more you see it, the more it sees you. If you comment on this video, be aware you've already said its name. This is only part 1 of the Holopath case. There are still more tapes, more disappearances, and one name that keeps surfacing in police reports, in floor plans, and in the final scribbles of the missing. Elias Corvin. Architect. Occultist. Builder of the 13th floor. What was he trying to trap? And why does it still echo today? If you've ever lived in a building where something didn't feel right above you, if your ceiling creaks at the same time every night, if you've ever found a panel or vent you swear wasn't there before, tell us. Your story might be the next piece in this nightmare. And if you're brave enough to keep going, stay tuned. Part 2 will take you deeper into the blueprints, the forbidden stairwell, and the creature that's learned how to mimic human speech. This has been Nightmare Hex. We don't just tell stories. We document what they want erased. Subscribe if you're not afraid of what's above you. Comment if the knocking has already started. But don't look up. Never look up. If you thought Floor 13 was just a rumor or an urban myth, you're dangerously mistaken. After Devon Hale vanished, the silence around Hollowpath Heights only grew thicker, darker, as if the building itself was swallowing everything whole, erasing traces of those who dared to uncover its secrets. Tonight, in part 2 of the Hollowpath case, we journey deeper into the forbidden stairwell, the leaked blueprints, and the dark figure who built it all, Elias Corvin. Corvin, the architect who disappeared a week after Hollowpath opened in 1979, left behind more than just plans. He left a trap. The hidden door behind that fake electrical panel was never meant to be found, and the explorers who stumbled through it are now missing, their fates a chilling warning to all who pry too deeply. Their footage, the last anyone saw of them, shows hallways twisting and bending as if the building itself was warping reality. The lights flickered in rhythmic pulses, like a heartbeat, or perhaps a warning. The walls breathed black mold that seemed to pulse and contract, crawling with veins like living skin. At the end of the corridor, a figure emerged, unnatural, twitching violently, crawling backwards on all fours. Its eyes, if you could call them that, glowed faintly with a sickly green hue. It turned its head toward the camera, and in that moment, the feed cut to static. Their channel was erased from the internet less than an hour later, as if some unseen force was cleaning up loose ends. Since then, reports have flooded in, viewers claiming to hear tapping in their own homes at exactly 3:17 a.m. The tapping is no ordinary noise. It's deliberate, steady, like a countdown. Those who've recorded it and tried to decode it say it repeats a cryptic phrase. Find the mouth. But what does it mean? The mouth was the last word Elias Corvin uttered before vanishing. His private journals, recovered in fragments by amateur sleuths, reveal he wasn't just designing a building. He was constructing a prison for something ancient and malevolent. A being that feeds on fear, silence, and the souls of those trapped within the walls. The 13th floor is no ordinary level. It's a labyrinth designed to contain this entity, its twisted hallways and rooms disconnected from plumbing and ventilation. They serve no practical purpose, only to confuse and trap those who enter. And those who live on lower floors report voices, echoing through their walls. Some whisper names. Others utter indecipherable sounds. One resident, an elderly woman named Grace Hannity, was the sole survivor of the 6 people who vanished in 1987. She claimed the floor grew between the others overnight, trapping them on what should have been the 12th floor, but they woke on 13 instead. Her testimony was dismissed as madness, and she was institutionalized soon after. But her warnings haunt the building to this day. Analysis of Corvin's blueprints reveals occult symbols etched into the building's foundation, sigils meant to bind the entity in place. Yet, those bindings are weakening. The walls hum with energy, and residents report seeing shadowy figures pressing hands against sealed doors, mouthing silent screams. Security guards working night shifts hear footsteps where no one should be, and sometimes the surveillance cameras glitch, showing impossible images, distorted mouths opening wide, swallowing whole corridors in static. Devon's deleted footage of the crawlspace panel above his closet contains a bell on a chain, rusted and swinging by itself. Forums claim it's a warning and a key. 3 rings summon the entity. 1 or 2 rings mean it's watching, waiting for the moment to strike. After Devon's disappearance, neighbors heard the bell toll multiple times, metal scraping inside the walls, like claws dragging across plaster. The police have refused to enter the building after dark, citing electrical failures, radios cutting out, and a pervasive sense of dread that cannot be explained. One officer described hearing a voice whispering from inside the walls. "It's inside now." That phrase, eerily matching Devon's last silent lip-read words, sends chills even through the bravest. The explorers who entered the forbidden stairwell vanished without a trace. Their families say they suddenly stopped responding to calls and messages. One paranormal investigator who tried to track them received a cryptic message. Inside the walls, there is no escape. A tenant working late one night reported seeing a shape in the sealed stairwell small window, a shadowy, twisted form pressing its face against the glass, with hollow eyes that seemed to pierce the soul. The resident fled the building immediately, never returning. Hollowpath Heights is no longer just a haunted building. It's a living nightmare, a trap, a sentient predator disguised as concrete and steel. The thing inside floor 13 is not bound by human logic or laws of physics. It warps space and time within the walls, bending reality and consuming those who dare look up. The bell's toll is a summons, the tapping a countdown. If you hear it in your home, don't ignore it. It's watching. It's choosing. And if it rings 3 times, it's your turn. The entity is patient and cunning. It learns from those who observe and listen. Devon's final message was a warning. It's not upstairs. It's inside now. The horror has already spread beyond the building's walls, creeping through the air ducts, the plumbing, the hidden crawl spaces, finding new victims in new places. And now it is hunting the viewers of this story. Those who comment on this video are already marked. The entity knows your name. It watches your ceiling. It waits in the silence. The walls whisper, the ceilings creak, and the bell swings slowly, deliberately, calling you into the darkness. If you find a panel where none existed before, if you hear tapping at 3:17 a.m., don't open it. Don't look up. Because the more you see, the more it sees you, and once you've been seen, there is no turning back. The Hollowpath case has only just begun. Next time, we'll uncover the occult rituals Elias Corvin used to bind this horror, and the terrifying truth about the mouth beneath the building, the insatiable hunger that grows with every silence broken. Until then, stay safe, stay silent, and remember, Nightmare Hex doesn't just tell stories. We expose the darkness they want buried. Subscribe if you're brave enough to face the unknown. Comment if the tapping has started in your home. But whatever you do, never, ever look up. We finally uncover the dark truths behind Elias Corvin, the architect, occultist, and the man who built floor 13, not as a level for tenants, but as a prison, a trap, and a gateway to something far worse than anyone imagined. Corvin was no ordinary architect. Before Hollowpath Heights was even a blueprint, he was obsessed with ancient texts, forbidden rituals, and the idea of architecture as a vessel for otherworldly forces. His journals, recovered from a hidden compartment beneath the building's foundations, revealed detailed sketches of symbols and sigils taken from lost grimoires, symbols meant to bind and contain entities beyond human comprehension. Corvin believed the building itself could become a living thing, a conduit between our world and something darker, something hungry. The 13th floor, with its impossible layout, corridors that twist in on themselves, rooms with no windows or doors, stairwells that lead nowhere, was designed as a prison for a being he only ever referred to as the Mouth. His notes describe the Mouth as an ancient, predatory entity that devours reality, feeding on the fears and souls of those trapped inside. He claimed the building would breathe, swallow, and grow hungrier with every attempt to expose it. In 1979, after Hollowpath opened, Corvin performed a ritual deep beneath the foundations on a stormy night, an event no official records acknowledge. Witnesses nearby reported hearing a low chant echoing under the earth, a sound like hundreds of voices whispering in unison. Days later, Corvin disappeared without a trace. The 13th floor was sealed off shortly after, labeled structurally unsafe, but rumors say it was never meant to be entered again. As we've seen, those who try to explore it never return. The occult symbols Corvin embedded in the building's foundation have begun to fade, the bindings weakening as time passes. This allows the mouth to stretch its influence, warping the building's reality. Walls pulsate as if alive, hallways elongate or collapse without warning, and shadows move with sinister intent. Survivors of the 1987 disappearances described hearing guttural growls from the walls, feeling cold breath against their necks, and seeing faces pressed behind plaster, faces contorted in agony. One tenant's journal entry describes waking up trapped inside a room that wasn't theirs, with walls bleeding dark liquid, and whispers urging them to feed the hunger. The building's hunger is cyclical, growing stronger with every disappearance, every silence swallowed whole. Devin Hale's videos captured the recent surge in activity. Footsteps from the void, the bell tolls, the tapping at 3:17 a.m. The bell, a relic from Corvin's ritual, is a warning and a key. 3 rings summon the mouth's attention. 1 or 2 mean it watches and waits. After Devin's final video, neighbors heard the bell toll multiple times, metal scraping inside the walls like claws dragging across rusted chains. Police and security teams report systems failures near the building, cameras glitching to reveal impossible visions, radios cutting out with static whispering voices in unknown languages. More disturbingly, witnesses report seeing figures trapped inside sealed stairwells and crawlspaces, shadows with glowing eyes, mouths opening impossibly wide as if trying to scream, but only silence escapes. It's as if the mouth hungers not just for bodies, but for voices, memories, and fear itself. Some believe that once you've heard its name, seen its bell, or decoded its tapping, you become marked, trapped inside the building's growing influence. The chilling words Devin mouthed on the fire escape, "It's inside now," suggests the mouth no longer needs floor 13 to reach victims. It has spread, seeping through cracks, vents, and the very air itself, hunting those who dare look or listen too closely. Today, we warn you. If you live near Holopath, or any building where ceilings creak at night, where panels appear where none existed before, where you hear tapping or chains softly swaying, be very careful. The mouth learns, adapts, and waits patiently for its next meal. Some brave souls have tried to destroy the building, but each attempt has failed mysteriously. Fires extinguished, equipment malfunctioned, and trespassers chased away by a force that feels almost sentient. Corvin's final notes speak of a ritual to seal the mouth forever, but it was never completed. The ritual requires a sacrifice, someone who understands the building's hunger and is willing to pay the ultimate price to contain it. No one knows who will volunteer, or if anyone ever will. The blueprints recovered fragments of Corvin's journals, and the testimonies of survivors and witnesses form a terrifying picture of a building alive, hungry, and growing stronger. This is no longer just a haunting, it's a curse, an ancient evil bound in concrete, waiting to consume anyone foolish enough to look up. We'll continue to dig deeper into Elias Corvin's life, the occult forces he invoked, and the horrifying secrets hidden beneath Holopath Heights. Stay with us as we explore the forbidden stairwell in detail, revealing what lurks in its darkest corners and how far the mouth's influence has spread. Remember, Nightmare Hex doesn't just tell stories, we expose the nightmares they want erased. Subscribe if you dare to learn the truth. Comment if you felt the tapping or heard the bell. And above all, never open a panel you didn't see before. Never look up. The mouth is always hungry, and it's waiting for you. We descend into the forbidden stairwell, the threshold to floor 13, and confront the shadowed horrors lurking within its twisted halls. This stairwell, hidden behind a fake electrical panel, defies all logic. It leads nowhere on the official blueprints, yet countless reports confirm its existence. A gateway to a place where reality unravels. The air around the entrance is thick and heavy, smelling of rust, mold, and something far older. Something decayed and hungry at each walls here seem to pulse faintly, as if the building itself breathes beneath your skin. Those who have dared step inside describe a sensation of weightlessness, vertigo, and time slipping away. The further they descend, the more the walls close in, as if trying to trap them forever. Flickering lights cast grotesque shadows, elongating hallways into impossible angles, turning corners that open into voids or dead ends. The floors shift beneath your feet, sometimes cold and wet, other times dry and brittle, like cracking bone. The thick black mold that coats the walls seems almost alive, creeping tendrils, twitching like veins. And from within it comes faint whispers, words you can't quite make out, but that fill you with dread. At the heart of this labyrinth is a door, ancient, warped wood, cracked and splintered, but sealed tight by rusted chains that rattle softly, as if stirred by an unseen breath. It's said that this door hides the mouth itself, the entity Elias Corvin trapped here, or tried to. Residents report hearing scratching and tapping coming from behind this door late at night. Sounds like nails dragged across metal, or chains dragging over stone. Some say the entity can imitate human voices, calling to victims in the dark, promising escape, comfort, or terrible revelations if they only open the door. The explorers who live-streamed their descent into the stairwell caught glimpses of this entity, a shadow that moved unnaturally, crawling backward on all fours, its head twisting in impossible ways, eyes glowing with a sickly green light. Its movements were jerky and twitching, as if in pain or hunger. When it turned toward the camera, the feed distorted, glitching with static and incomprehensible whispers before cutting out entirely. No one has seen the explorers since, and their channel was erased within hours, as if the building itself swallowed their digital footprint. The forbidden stairwell is more than just a hidden passage. It's a trap, a funnel drawing victims into the bowels of the building's madness. Some who enter report hearing voices in reverse, chanting in languages long dead, while others feel unseen hands brushing against their skin or cold breath on the back of their necks. The experience warps minds, causing paranoia, hallucinations, and madness. Security footage from Holopath shows figures moving in impossible ways on the stairwell cameras. Elongated limbs, contorted faces, mouths opening wider than humanly possible, but always silent. A former guard claims he once heard the door creak open by itself, and glimpsed a shape slipping inside before the camera feed cut to black. He quit the job the next day, plagued by nightmares of hollow eyes watching him from the shadows. The building's power fluctuates wildly near the stairwell, lights flicker, alarms beep erratically, and radios emit static filled with faint, unintelligible whispers. Local authorities refuse to investigate after dark, fearing for their safety and sanity. The building's design, combined with Corvin's occult bindings, create a reality where time and space fold and twist, where floors overlap, and entities trapped between walls hunger for escape. The mouth feeds not just on flesh, but on fear, silence, and the very essence of life. Its hunger grows stronger with every person drawn inside. The bell on the chain, seen in Devon's last video, is believed to be connected to this entity, signaling when it is ready to claim another victim. Residents report hearing the bell tolling late at night, followed by footsteps echoing through empty halls. Some hear whispering voices warning them to flee or remain silent. But silence only makes the hunger grow. If you hear the bell ring 3 times, the entity has chosen you. Don't answer it. Don't look up. The stairwell and floor 13 are a living nightmare, an impossible maze designed to trap souls and feed an ancient evil disguised as a building. This horror has spread beyond Holopath, seeping into the air of nearby buildings, infecting the minds of those who dare to watch, listen, or comment on this story. The Holopath case is far from over. The forbidden stairwell is the gate, and the mouth waits just beyond, hungry and patient. Next time, we'll delve into the missing tenants, those who vanished without a trace, and the strange carvings left behind in their abandoned apartments. We'll uncover the last desperate attempts to seal this horror, and the terrifying cost those attempts demanded. Stay with us. Subscribe if you dare. Comment if you've heard the bell or the tapping in your own home. And always remember, never open a panel you didn't see before. Never look up. The mouth is watching, and it's always hungry. Tonight, in the chilling conclusion to the Holopath case, we unravel the final threads of a nightmare spun decades ago. Stories of the missing tenants, the strange carved symbols left behind, and the desperate rituals that sought to seal away the mouth forever. Between 1987 and 1990, 6 tenants vanished from floor 13 in a single week. No signs of struggle, no clues left behind except for a wet, metallic smell lingering in their abandoned apartments and walls etched with bizarre carvings. These carvings, discovered by maintenance workers years later, were unlike anything seen before. Intricate symbols intertwined with images of gaping mouths and twisted faces, lines scratching the walls like desperate cries for help. Survivors who escaped the floor spoke of waking up trapped in rooms that shifted beneath their skin, walls bleeding black ichor, and whispers calling their names in voices both familiar and alien. One tenant, Grace Hannity, whose chilling testimony was dismissed as insanity, described the floor as a living entity that could consume minds, twisting reality until escape was impossible. Investigators found her apartment coated in these carvings, the walls pulsating faintly as if breathing, and faint echoes of her screams trapped in the plaster. Behind these markings lies Corvin's unfinished ritual, a desperate attempt to imprison the mouth by binding it to the building's foundation, using occult sigils and human sacrifice. Fragments of his journal describe a ritual site beneath the building where he intended to trap the entity's hunger forever. But something went horribly wrong. The ritual required a living offering willing to sacrifice themselves to the building's hunger, becoming the key to keeping the mouth bound. No record exists of anyone ever completing this ritual, and some believe Corvin himself was consumed in the process. Since then, the hunger has grown, fed by the souls of those lost in the labyrinthine halls of floor 13. Recent attempts to replicate Corvin's ritual have ended in disaster. Fires that burn cold, equipment that fails inexplicably, and those who try never return. It's said the building retaliates, protecting its prisoner and its growing power with a jealous hunger. Witnesses report seeing shadows pressing faces against the sealed walls, mouths opening wide to scream in silence, and hearing chains dragging slowly through empty halls. The tapping at 3:17 a.m. has intensified, joined by distant bells tolling through the night air, warnings that the mouth stirs, preparing to feed again. Devon Hale's fate remains unknown, but the echoes of his warnings live on. His videos deleted, his messages silenced, but his terror immortalized in those last chilling whispers. Listen. You're next. The Holopath case is not just a story, it's a warning. If you find a hidden panel where none existed before, if you hear tapping or chains in the dead of night, do not open the door. Do not answer the bell. The mouth waits patiently, growing hungrier with every silence broken. This nightmare does not end here. It lives in buildings where floors shift, walls breathe, and darkness reaches through cracks to claim those who look up. Nightmare Hex has documented what others want forgotten, exposing horrors that lurk just beyond the veil of reality. Subscribe if you dare to face the unknown. Comment if you've heard the tapping. But whatever you do, never, ever look up. Because once you've seen the mouth, it's already seen you. And it will never let go. The last descent into the darkness that has haunted Hollowpath Heights for nearly half a century. After decades of disappearances, hauntings, and inexplicable horrors, the truth behind the mouth is finally revealed. But what you're about to hear may shatter your reality forever. The mouth is no mere ghost or spirit. It is an ancient, sentient void born from the building itself, a parasitic entity that devours light, hope, and life, feeding on fear and silence to grow stronger. Elias Corvin, the architect, was both a visionary and a madman who sought to contain this horror by trapping it beneath floor 13, binding it with occult sigils and human sacrifice. But the ritual was incomplete. The mouth was not sealed, it was enraged, imprisoned and furious, its hunger growing insatiable. Over time, it began to warp the building's fabric, walls bending, ceilings breathing, floors folding over one another, creating an endless labyrinth that traps souls in a waking nightmare. Those lost tenants weren't simply vanished, they were consumed, their minds torn apart and folded into the building's endless hunger. And now, the mouth reaches beyond the physical, spreading like a virus through walls, screens, and even the minds of those who dare to watch or listen. Devon Hale's final warnings were more than cryptic. They were a call to arms and a plea for survival. His deleted footage contained glimpses of the mouth's true form. A twisting, gaping maw lined with teeth made of shadow and bone, surrounded by endless darkness that seemed to swallow all light. The bell, the tapping at 3:17 a.m., the whispered warnings, these are the ways the mouth signals its approach, testing its prey, dragging them closer to the edge of oblivion. No one who hears the bell and answers lives to tell the tale. This entity is patient, methodical, and impossible to defeat by ordinary means. Attempts to burn down Hollowpath Heights failed, as the building resists destruction with unnatural force. Attempts to replicate Corvin's ritual ended in madness, death, or disappearance. The mouth does not hunger for flesh alone. It craves fear, silence, and the very essence of those who encounter it. And now, it's reaching out to you. If you have listened to this story, if you have watched the videos, if you have commented, you are no longer safe. The mouth sees you. It waits behind your walls, beneath your floors, and in the shadows of your ceiling. You may already hear the tapping at 3:17 a.m. or the faint ringing of a bell in the distance. Do not answer. Do not look up. Because once the mouth has seen you, it will never let go. There is no escape, no sanctuary. Your only hope is silence, stillness, and denial of its existence. Nightmare Hex has exposed the darkness they want buried, but in doing so, we have all become part of the nightmare. This is the final warning. Guard your walls, watch your ceilings, and pray you never hear the bell ring 3 times. Because when it does, the mouth comes to claim you, body, mind, and soul. Thank you for joining us on this terrifying journey. Subscribe if you dare to face the unknown again. Comment if you hear the tapping. But whatever you do, never, ever look up. The mouth is watching, and it will never let you go.